motorcycle pursuit.
Yeah, you can see it right there. This has been a very dangerous pursuit at speeds of more than 131 miles per hour at points near the 60 freeway right now in Montebello. Let's get up to Desmond Shaw, Sky 2 as the latest. Desmond.
Yeah, Peter and Andrea, that's what this motorcycle was initially wanted for, was for speeding. Now, we were on our way back to the Diamond Bar story with that evacuation and then the whole hydrogen thing, and we just happened upon this motorcycle pursuit flying on the westbound 10 coming out of Baldwin Park, and before I could blink, he was southbound on the 605 and then hightailed it over to the westbound 60. He was going around Montebello and was getting into some neighborhoods, and it looked like he was really trying to pull a fast one on the helicopters. There's actually not one, but two helicopters overhead. He was going underneath the freeway and then making U-turns kind of out of sight and then trying to get out of there to evade them, and then we saw him go into some gas stations and back. And then it looked like he almost was cornered for a minute by one of the officers in pursuit, one of the ground units. I believe it was El Monte is one of the pursuing agencies. And then he got on the sidewalk and then booked it and got away from them. And now we are, I believe we're southbound on Lakewood Boulevard right now. So we've been all over the place. So coming out of Montebello, kind of into the Pico Rivera area, blowing through stop signs. At one point, I saw well over 100 miles an hour cut between two unsuspecting cars southbound on the 605. Definitely the most dangerous thing I've seen so far. This is definitely one of the crazier pursuits we've seen so far. Motorcycle wanted for speeding. We picked it up coming out of the Baldwin Park area, and not one but two choppers overhead right now. Incredibly dangerous here, Peter and Andrew.
And Desmond, are there any cruisers behind him right now? Because I know at one point he was going so fast that police and CHP just couldn't even keep up.
Yeah, well, we're going to probably see a couple of the ones that were in pursuit right now as he just made a U-turn now, and looks like he wants to get on the freeway. This is going to be the southbound 605. But I'll zoom out here for a second. You see, not in the immediate area, no. We did have some units in pursuit a little bit earlier when he was in those surface streets in Montebello. We saw them. They were about 10 or 15 seconds behind. They did manage to catch up to him, but this is the problem with motorcycles. Obviously, not only are they so quick, but they're so maneuverable. They can fit where nobody else can fit, and they can just take off so fast. It's just so difficult. In fact, the majority of motorcycle pursuits end up getting lost. A lot of the times the agencies just decide to let them go, because a lot of times it's a lost cause. We've seen other times too where they're able to successfully evade authorities if they go underneath bridges or around downtown LA, around a lot of tall buildings. They just have too many advantages, unfortunately, and it's very, very difficult for agencies to keep up with motorcycle pursuits.
And you know what's very alarming, Desmond, as we watch this unfold here live on the 605 freeway heading south, is just how fast this motorcyclist is going. Earlier, he was clocked at going over 130 miles per hour. He definitely has picked up speed again. And this is alarming and concerning for law enforcement, especially since he is putting other drivers on the road at risk right now.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. This may be the fastest pursuit that I have ever been a part of. I mean, we've seen some very fast pursuits with cars and motorcycles, but this one really may take the cake for me from what I've seen. We're easily over 100 miles an hour right now. There has been times when Sky 2 has had trouble keeping up with this guy. And, you know, he's been turning around, you know, on the turn of a dime as well. So that makes it very difficult. And again, there's not one but two choppers that were in pursuit. We are now southbound on the 605. We're going to be at the 5 freeway here at this rate in no time flat. Well over 100 miles an hour southbound on the 605, lead getting ready to come up to Slauson right now, and coming through the Pico Rivera area. Next will be the Norwalk and Downey area. You see cutting between two cars like nothing. And there's been a couple of occasions too where he looked like he was going to get off the freeway, and then he cut back at the very last second. Again, trying to evade authorities. This guy just taking every possible chance right now. Late night here, southbound on the 605 coming up to the 5.
And Desmond, we were just told that CHP has now canceled all of their ground units. There are just airships above this driver. They are alerting other law enforcement agencies if they, though, want to pick up this pursuit. It just goes to show, though, how fast this person is going and how dangerous it is for everyone involved.
And it looks like he is now getting on the 5 northbound, Desmond, correct?
Yep, yes, he is. North on the 5, you see right there, getting so close to that car. You know, these people have no idea, and here comes this guy flying up at 100 miles an hour. So, yeah, you know, this is what happens a lot of the time when you have a really high-speed pursuit like this, especially now. Most agencies will back off, and they will, you know, be kind of content to go into a tracking mode if possible. maybe, you know, if they have that license plate number, then they can hope to catch up with this person later. But yeah, it looks like Tim, do we just have the 2 choppers up here right now? One. Yeah, we have actually just 1 chopper overhead right now as well. Now getting off of the freeway, I believe this is going to be Lakewood. Rosemead again. Lakewood, yeah, and we'll see which way he decides to go, if he's going to go north on Rosemead or south on Lakewood. And it looks like he's going to be going southbound. So he'll be coming into the, let's see, yeah, I thought maybe he was going to try to get back on the freeway, but now he's going southbound on Lakewood Boulevard, and we'll be coming down into the Downey area. So we've crossed a lot of different jurisdictions, and, you know, crossing these jurisdictions so fast, we heard CHP earlier kind of trying to decide, you know, who's going to be the handle on this, you know, which agency are we going to reach out to, because he's been going between them so quickly. But it sounds like we just have the one. You see the spotlight there. I believe that's going to be the CHP helicopter overhead that is tracking this guy. And yeah, no more units in pursuit at this point.
And Desmond, you mentioned that this may be one of the fastest pursuits you've ever tracked. I think Andrea and I could say the same thing. I don't think we've ever seen either a motorcyclist or a driver of a car going at speeds of more than 130 miles per hour, and also on surface streets. I mean, he is going so fast, even, well, now he's slowing down a bit, but earlier we saw him actually on the sidewalk at some points.
Yeah, it's really crazy, and you know, we on our sister station KNX, we cover so many motorcycle crashes every day, you know, and so when you see a motorcycle like this just flying at these speeds like this, you know, it really just makes me cringe. And the other thing with the motorcycles as well, actually, let's see what he's doing here. Now he's going into a driveway. Going into a driveway here. We are off of Lakewood Boulevard, so he is
getting off.
Kind of casually walking away like it's no big deal.
Wow.
Running into the house now, but CHP knows what house this is. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds. Zooming out, do not see any units at all overhead.
Well,
I don't think we've ever seen anything
or
like this.
just the chopper, I mean. Yeah, no units on the street. We just have the 1 chopper overhead, I should say.
And this person
so
must know, with all those spotlights on him, that they know exactly where he is.
Yeah, now I'm wondering if he's going to try to maybe hop a fence or something. This is where it gets kind of dicey, especially when there's no one on the ground. They can get there and apprehend this guy. So they've got the 1 spotlight. I'm sure they wish they had 2 or 3 right now.
But it looked like he knew exactly where he was going. He was walking casually off of his motorcycle. Very, very strange.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder
this
if this
is either...
was...
Go ahead, Peter.
No, I was just saying, Desmond, you have to wonder if this is where he was intending to go in the first place. I mean, clearly, he seemed very nonchalant when he got off that motorcycle, as we're seeing on the right side of the screen, and just sort of walked into that house just like he normally would.
Yep. Yeah, it looked like the door was unlocked and waiting for him, so, you know, he may have been in communication if this is either his house or perhaps one of his friends' houses, but now you can see them kind of focusing in here on the backyard to see if perhaps he's going to hop a fence or something like that. But we saw him run inside. This was the last we saw, and I'll just come out here for a second again on this cul-de-sac that's not far off of Lakewood Boulevard, south of the 5 freeway in the Downey area, but no units on the ground. So it's going to be kind of hard to say how they're going to approach this right now, but we believe that this guy is still inside, ran inside the house here just moments ago. The end of a pursuit. I'm sure he knew that he was able to, you know, get away from a lot of the ground units there. And we see a couple of lights coming on.
Did he just turn on the lights? Or is he turning them off
going
now?
on and off. Yeah.
Like maybe they won't see him.
Right.
We can't help but laugh, Desmond. This is one of the weirdest pursuits I think we've seen in a very long time.
And
yeah, absolutely. I'm just so glad that this, you know, that it didn't end in a crash.
yeah, and he was a very, I mean, we're assuming it's a male here. It could be a female. We just don't know. But this person was a very skilled driver, weaving in and out of vehicles, but also going over 130 miles an hour, going on sidewalks at some points, originally wanted for speeding, and now the driver has ended up in this home with no activity in it that we're seeing. And Desmond, we just don't know if any law enforcement is going to show up now, or now that they know where this residence is, they'll show up later. Just very strange.
Yeah, and obviously, every moment that they're not here locking down the scene is another moment for this guy to hop a fence or do whatever. Maybe he could have already at this point gone out of a back door and maybe gone. It's kind of hard to say at this point. Or this could turn into a barricade situation. We see that happen a lot of times as well, where they go and they run inside a house, and then it could turn into an hours-long standoff situation. So still too early to know how this is going to play out. I have to imagine that there are some law enforcement that are on the way here, but I haven't seen anybody arrive as the CHP chopper sits overhead here with their spotlight, watching like a hawk to make sure that this guy doesn't get out.
And even though the pursuit is over, Desmond, the concern now, as you mentioned, is who is inside this house. Was this a house that he knew somebody in, or is this just a random house that he happened to drive up to with his motorcycle, and perhaps there's a hostage situation or something bizarre going on inside? Our suspicion is that this was a home that he was familiar with. As we mentioned earlier, you could see that motorcycle parked in the driveway. He just casually got off and just walked on in. But what's so bizarre to us is not only the fact that he just got into that house very, very cavalierly, but that he had been going so fast and going so erratic, 130 miles per hour, and trying to evade law enforcement for so long, knowing that the choppers were watching him and had a spotlight on him, that he would even just go to a house.
Yeah, it's we never know what these folks are thinking, but I was going to say earlier too, the vast majority of motorcycle pursuits are lost just because they end up going so fast, and we've heard so many times on scanners of pursuits that initiate and they end 30 seconds later because the motorcycle flies off at 130 miles an hour in heavy traffic. So it was kind of amazing that we were even able to track this one in the first place, but it will be very interesting to see how this plays out. Still no one there on the scene, but you're right, Peter. I mean, 100 different things could be happening right now. If he's still in the house right now, is he armed? Did he already escape out of the backyard if he had a back door there and there was just a moment of darkness and he was able to escape? This could play out one of a multitude of ways.
All right, Desmond, we're going to move on to some other news, but I know you'll keep an eye on this and bring us any new updates as they happen. Thank you.
Bailed out. He's not due back in court until April. Back to you.
All right, Christy, let's go back now to the end of a motorcycle pursuit in Downey.
It looks like ground units are on the scene now. Desmond Shaw is live above it in Sky 2. Desmond.
Yeah, Andrea, Peter, the cavalry has finally arrived here, and it looks, I'm trying to see what, it looks like this might be Downey PD that are now assisting. We're off of Stamps Avenue. So that was off of the Paramount off-ramp off the 5. That's where this all ended there. You see the motorcycle in the parking lot there. And just moments ago, saw about 5 or 6 of the squad cars arrive, come here with lights flashing here and there, trying to decide what the next move is going to be. I'm sure they're going to try to set up a perimeter and lock up the area to make sure that he doesn't escape. Obviously, they want to make sure that he's still inside. Believe he is. We were really looking closely here to see anybody escape through the backyard, and then this may turn into a barricade situation, which, as we know, can last for a very long time. Live in Sky 2 overhead, I'm Desmond Shaw. Andrea and Peter, back to you.
So at this point, Desmond, I know that the suspect, we're assuming, is still inside the house. We don't know if maybe he ran off or something, but police are just trying to call out orders right now, it seems, and see if anybody will come out.
Yeah, they'll go along with that for a while, and then if this persists for a long time, then it could turn into a SWAT situation if they suspect that he's armed. I mean, we've seen these kind of situations last as long as 12 hours. Obviously, they take every possible precaution, and let's certainly hope that it doesn't turn into one of those.
Let's certainly hope not. Desmond Shaw tracking it for us above in Sky 2.
Bailed out. He's not due back in court until April. Back to you.
All right, Christy, let's go back now to the end of a motorcycle pursuit in Downey.
It looks like ground units are on the scene now. Desmond Shaw is live above it in Sky 2. Desmond.
Yeah, Andrea, Peter, the cavalry has finally arrived here, and it looks, I'm trying to see what, it looks like this might be Downey PD that are now assisting. We're off of Stamps Avenue. So that was off of the Paramount off-ramp off the 5. That's where this all ended there. You see the motorcycle in the parking lot there, and just moments ago, saw about 5 or 6 of the squad cars arrive, come here with lights flashing here and there, trying to decide what the next move is going to be. I'm sure they're going to try to set up a perimeter and lock up the area to make sure that he doesn't escape. Obviously, they want to make sure that he's still inside. Believe he is. We were really looking closely here. Didn't see anybody escape through the backyard, and then this may turn into a barricade situation, which, as we know, can last for a very long time. Live in Sky 2 overhead, I'm Desmond Shaw. Andrea, Peter, back to you.
So at this point, Desmond, I know that the suspect, we're assuming, is still inside the house. We don't know if maybe he ran off or something, but police are just trying to call out orders right now, it seems, and see if anybody will come out.
Yeah, you know, they'll go along with that for a while, and then if this persists for a long time, then, you know, it could turn into a SWAT situation if they suspect that, you know, he's armed. I mean, we've seen these kind of situations last, you know, as long as 12 hours. Obviously, they take every possible precaution, and let's certainly hope that it doesn't turn into one of those.
Let's certainly hope not. Desmond Shaw tracking it for us above in Sky 2.